You grow up with having in August having these fields of blueberries
Exactly.
and these crowberries, and you go and you just pick them up and
I love it. Hello, I'm Paavo Järvi, music director of the Tonhalle Orchestra Zurich. Welcome to Tram for Two, a series where I take my guests on a tram ride through Zurich. Today we have a very special guest from Iceland, a composer, Anna Thorvaldsdóttir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Very nice to have you here in Zurich, in the tram.
Thank you. This is very nice. Very nice.
We have just now finished the third performance of your wonderful piece called Arcora. And it's the first encounter for me with your music, even though I knew about you and some of your music before, but never conducted it before. And I must say, it's really a wonderful, wonderful piece.
Thank you.
Everybody and the audience especially really loved it. Tell me a little bit about that piece.
Yeah, this piece is written from a kind of from the inspiration of a very primordial energy, and this is where all the kind of deep, dark drones come from in this piece, and then paired with the other side, which is the more fragile and subtle side, which is represented through more ethereal material and effects and higher harmonics. And it's really hard to talk about music in words sometimes. Sure. Because you want the music to bring you the world that it is on its own.
Do you have any connection or a conscious connection to Iceland when you write music, or you just write music?
In a short answer is I only write music.
Right.
My roots in Iceland are very deep and strong, and I'm aware that the kind of landscape that I come from is probably a factor in how I sense, the world, and therefore make my music.
Right.
But when I'm working on music, I'm never thinking like, this is very Icelandic, this is that type of landscape or that type of...
Because when I was conducting it yesterday,
yeah.
Somehow I couldn't help but think that something very Icelandic about this music, and I didn't even know exactly why.
Yeah.
Or exactly what was it that made me think so, but something kind of primordial, as you said, and something very, very much connected to this sort of majesty and inevitability of nature.
Exactly.
and also there is something hypnotic about this, and larger than life. I even at one point I'm hearing some kind of whale sounds there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's totally because it's my brain, but I hear this deep sounds that could come from either ocean or fjords, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It somehow connects me to Iceland. Some composers, I always ask, how does one write? What is the process? Some people say that I need to go and write every day something, and then slowly a piece will happen. Others, and there was a friend of our family, Eduard Tubin, who would walk in the forest for 3 months, just walk, and then it was all ready, and then he went to the kitchen table and wrote everything down. So what is the process?
Yeah, so for me, I allow myself a lot of time to find the music internally before I sit down and write it out. And that process also involves sketching out the ideas that I have. Mm-hmm. And I do that in kind of on large pieces of paper with kind of different types of words and pictures and sketches. And it's when I have a very clear idea about the entire piece in the mind, that's when I start
Then you start writing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you listen to other people's music?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
But I try not to listen too much when I'm in a very sensitive state.
Stages of writing. But listening then to mostly the new composers or people from the past?
Oh, I mean both, and also I listen to a lot of electronic music.
And the titles, are they
Yeah.
coming first or last? Or they are
That
part?
depends.
Yes.
That depends. Sometimes they come at the end. Sometimes they come even at the very beginning. So that really depends on each piece.
You have one person
Sure.
who everybody knows from Iceland, and it's
Exactly.
Björk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And she has been monumental in carrying we all stand on her shoulders because she has this huge presence and kind of brought Iceland onto the map, I think,
That's
as
right.
a musical country.
That's right. That's right.
And
Yes.
no matter which genre you're in, and she has, paved the way for us.
Yes. A more personal question: how does it influence you that having a philosophy professor husband? Is that how does that facilitate, or maybe doesn't at all,
Yeah,
your artistic work?
Yeah, I mean, it's really wonderful that we kind of speak so much. We talk so much about different kinds of ideas and thoughts, both in music and in life and in his work, and that's always been so kind of mind. It stretches the mind,
Yeah.
and it's good. And he's also always been so involved in everything I'm doing, which is great. And I feel he's so supportive and knows more about my music, outwardly that I do. He knows where my music is performed, and he knows
Right.
more about that than myself, and that's incredible, actually. Yeah.
That's interesting, yes, because one thinks of composers as very solitary and sort of iconic in their own world, so to
Yeah.
speak, and don't allow too many other people in their world of creating.
Yeah.
Creative. But
Yeah.
I think, like all of us, I mean, we could benefit from an outside
Absolutely.
view.
Absolutely.
This is interesting because when they asked you, do you like blueberries? You said, how can you not?
Exactly.
Who doesn't like blueberries? I totally agree. I'm a blueberry fanatic as
Yeah,
well.
me
But I think it maybe has something to do with also the Nordic origin a little
Absolutely.
bit. Yeah.
And you grow up with having in August having these fields of blueberries
Exactly.
and these crowberries, and you go and you just pick them up, and
I love it.
It's
This is
so
one
good.
for me. That's somehow the symbol of
yeah.
the north, where I come from.
Yeah,
And I
good
talked to
point.
my father, and he always, after living in US and Florida, whatever, he says, I miss Estonia. I said, what is it you miss? The berries.
The berries, yeah.
It's for him Estonia,
Yeah.
and it's all these berries that are growing there,
Yeah.
and blueberries especially.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. How was your childhood? Did you grow up in? You grew up in Iceland, of
I
course.
did grow up in Iceland. I was born there, and I grew up in a small town about an hour away from Reykjavik.
Mm-hmm.
It was an hour at that point, but then later was a tunnel, and now
Yes.
it's much shorter.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, my mom is a music teacher, but teaches kids to
Right.
play piano and to sing. And my dad was a carpenter, and I was always very musical and wanted to. It's basically who I am. It's just
Right.
what I never thought that I'm going to be a musician. It's just it is
How it happened,
it is what it is.
But it's so interesting that a lot of musicians who I talk to, and composers and instrumentalists, they do tend to come
Yeah.
from a musical families, or at least somebody in
Yeah.
the family has opened that
Yeah.
magic little door
Yeah.
that allows you to peek into this
Yeah,
world of music.
yeah,
Did you have a chance to listen to an orchestra when you were a young,
yeah.
in Estonia, in Iceland? Sorry.
Yeah, I did actually, and this is another thing I'm very thankful for my mother. She never was trying to be like me. So she had took me once to the opera when I was very little, and I was so. It was just such a magnificent experience. What is this? This grand, big musical live, and I was starting to conduct with it. I didn't know what conducting was. I was a baby, and I mean, I was tiny, and she didn't do like, and people were just, I found it cute. I was just like doing some movements, and I remember this being like, yeah, this is so powerful, and it was like, I can imagine many people being like, oh, you know, be still, but I think things like this, you know, also being in the store and starting to sing, because that's how it felt like, and I was making up music, singing in the store, and not.
Why not?
Yeah, and Mom was not like. I think this is
she
also.
encouraged it.
Yeah, it's just like, and I think this is also, it gives you. I think it's very easy to tell us to be quiet.
Yeah. No, it's better to encourage, of course.
Yeah.
I remember my kids always, they were singing and doing all kind of things, and we all said, okay, fine, just do it, just enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about like going and disrupting everyone's life. It's just like little things that you can. Yeah.
Our guest today was an Icelandic composer, Anna Thorvaldsdóttir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
It's very interesting to talk to you.
Thank you.
And even more interesting to play your music.
Thank
Thank you for bringing your music here. Triumph for 2, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.